What's good, YouTube? Today I'm gonna be breaking down that loop that y'all just heard in the intro. So I got some like analog Travis Scott, Mike Dean vibes for y'all. And the synth, like the loop I made, was mainly made using this synth right here. It's a Roland JU06A. It's modeled after the Roland Juno 106 and Juno 60. Two like really classic synthesizers, go for a lot of money. So this is pretty much just the pocket version of it. And if y'all don't give a fuck about hearing about any of this, y'all can skip to it. I'm gonna leave timestamps, but just tell y'all a little bit about like this is my first synth I've had, and I think it's a great purchase. Like if you make beats, a lot of it for producers is about sound design now. A lot of it isn't about what you can do on the keys or the guitar or anything else. I like to approach music in all aspects, so I do like doing that stuff. But if you don't, I feel like this is a really good way to like invest your money because it has so much potential for sound design. And like it's just something like the sound just sounds better too. And then there's something to be said about just like the whole experience of getting to physically use a synth and like create your sound from scratch. My fault. And go through the presets and shit, and like it's just like a cool thing to do. So if you into that type of shit, I would suggest getting one. Regardless though, I use Analog Labs still. Even in this sample I use Analog Labs. It honestly works really well alongside Analog Labs. But the point is with that is that you don't need it. Like you can keep using straight VSTs and shit. Like you're fine either way, but I like it. And I think if you want to like really take music shit seriously and you're gonna spend that money on something else like Chipotle or something fucking anyways, just invest it into your craft and like see where it takes you. But anyways, let's just get into the meat of this tutorial. Alright, so like I said, I use Analog Labs in this loop actually, and it's the first sound. It's the first and only sound, and it is a 80s trip preset. I don't know who it's by or whatever, but it's by some bank. It's pretty much just like a cool like retro synth sound. And the progression, I tried to break down the theory for it, and it's a little complicated, so I'm not even gonna like go into detail about everything, but it's pretty simple. Like the actual like concept of like I just played what sound good. And so it pretty much is, it's a, I'm in E minor, I'm in the E minor scale, and it's a 4 and then it's a 3. So it's a minor chord and then a major chord right below it. And then I copied it over and pretty much just added a couple notes. So I added this one. And like I said, the theory of everything, if I really like try to explain it, is a little complicated. Like I think this is a minor 13th, but like that really don't matter. I pretty much just added another note on top of the chord in the scale. And only other really big thing is that I added this cool little melody when I played it in, and right here it's in normal timing, and then over here I added the same thing but bumped it up and made it a triplet. So pretty simple, like I said, for the MIDI. And then the one other thing that is important to notice is that I added, it's always a good thing to add more as you progress, and so added this note and this note, and this pretty much, I added this one right here because I wanted that tension from those half notes right there. I wanted that tension. And then I actually bumped this down to here. And so like I said, I know I've said this like 5 times already, but the theory behind this is a little complicated. But this pretty much just makes this from the major third to the minor root. So it's pretty much just an E minor chord once I bump those down. And I actually resolved back to here. But pretty simple MIDI. I know I kind of talked about a lot of like weird theory shit, but it's pretty much just a major chord to a minor chord, repeat it over, and then when I repeat it, I just kind of added some more notes. On the effects on this, I used Fruity Parametric EQ, so it's just cut out some of the lows. RC20 just to add more of like a vintage feel since I'm using a physical synth and the sound was digital. Added some more chorus to it, a little bit of delay from Supermassive, and then meta filter. From here on out, all the melodic aspects come from my synth. I'm gonna keep playing everything on the sound from Analog Labs, but I'll show y'all the MIDI of what I'm doing, or at least play it for y'all so y'all understand. But it's the same thing. I still just have the same chords playing. So minor fourth, major third. That's still the chords I got going on. So this is the minor, this is the major, and then that copies over. And the cool thing I did about this though was instead of playing it like normal, like usually you play it with the root at the same time, so it's like. But I took that octave down root and I played it halfway through, so it goes like. And you can hear that right here if I play it real quick. Yeah. Just kind of gave it a cool feeling, cool bounce. And I don't know if it's just me because I made the melody, but that really cuts through in the mix to me. Like, it's really clear. That's something you can hear that stands out to me even whenever I play the loop within full context. So that was cool. But I did that, and then over here I just played like a little top line with the same sound. So that's it for that. And for the effects on it, I kept it simple just because the sound was really good already. I did a lot of the sound design in the synth itself, but I have a dark reflections, reverb from Effect Rack, and then a compressor, just because whenever you play stuff from a track in, like since it's an audio track and I didn't get to go back and adjust the MIDI, I can't like fix the imperfections of what I had playing it, so the compressor helps make everything level out a little bit better. But I did that, and then the next thing I did was add another synth layer. And this one again was the chords, but it was like a cool little stabby sound, and it's best just played instead of explained. And so it's just the same chord. It's that minor chord, major chord right here. That copies over. I just played it with a cool cadence because the sound was so like unique in the way it stabbed like that and repeatedly. And then right here, I kind of just added like a passing chord, and it's pretty much just the root. So it's just an E minor chord that I put in between these two right here, just to add some variation. And so on the effects on this, added more reverb, re-experience. This is my shit. So I'm pretty much. That reverse, if you paid attention, that reverse that you just heard, that like reverse delay, that's this, and it's crazy. It's my favorite preset. If you watch my tutorials, if you ever made beats with me, you know that. And then just an analog chorus, so it's just an analog emulation chorus. And this synth, it's actually famous for having like a crazy, like renowned, really looked up to chorus. So all the sounds kind of had chorus on them already, but I just wanted to add a little bit more for this one. After that, I had one more melodic element, and it's this sound right here. And it was like this kind of like lead synthy sound from the synth I was using, but it comes with a built-in arpeggiator right here, and so I arpeggiated the sound, and which gave it like a really cool like background texture kind of feel to it. And so I just played the chords again, and by now you probably noticed that like it wasn't complicated at all, like musically what I did. Like theory wise it was really simple. I just did like some really good sound design with the synth and with like the post processing I did, but sounds like this. And so that's that, and the only effect I put on this was EQ and then a portal, just to kind of add some ambience, make it a little bit more like hard to track, because the arpeggiation was very like clear cut, and I wanted it to kind of feel like half arpeggiated, half like a pad, if that makes sense. Once I did that, last thing I had was a bass, and I just used a one shot for this. It's a synth bass. I'm pretty sure it's from Hayes' kit. Kind of a perfect sound in my opinion for what I was trying to do. Main part was this bounce right here, just this double bounce that you see. I used that like the whole time throughout the melody, and that was just like kind of the theme, I guess, through the bass. And then just going between octaves and shit, just a cool little bass line. Sounds like this. I played this in on my MIDI too, and then just quantized it. Right here, I like this too because I changed up the bounce. I went to like a normal, bouncy 808 pattern right there, which is kind of cool. I like doing that. And then very last thing I added right here was just this perk loop. Pretty simple. Let me mute the bass. Just to add like a cool bounce, and it really fits like kind of the dramatic cinematic feel this loop had. So my kind of like closing thoughts for you guys are like, just get experimental with your samples. Like it's really like you can approach things as like, once you get the idea, like the concept of your melody down, it's just a lot of sound design and just kind of getting unique and really like listening in. That's like the biggest part about making this sample, and kind of like my whole sample making process as of recently has been more of just like listening before I do, instead of just kind of mindlessly doing stuff. Just like kind of hear it and like develop an idea in my head before. And like I said, you don't need a synth to make samples like this. Analog Labs works fine, One Shots works fine, like any synth really works fine, like VST or Real. But I love it if that's like an investment. If y'all really want to like try to take your samples to the next level, I think it's a good investment. And if y'all have any questions to me, I'll leave all my socials, all my contacts down below. So reach out to me. Let's work. Let's do whatever. Let's collaborate. But I hope y'all enjoy the video, and I'm gonna be coming back soon with another tutorial. So y'all keep an eye out.